Welcome to the Men on the Path to Love podcast, the Let's Talk About Sex episode. I'm Bill Simpson, your host. I coach men who are struggling in relationship how to communicate effectively, build trust, and deepen intimacy so that they can be the best version of themselves in a relationship and live the life they love. So yeah, let's talk about sex. I could do a whole season on this topic alone, and I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk about sex, so let's call this Let's Talk About Sex Part 1. In my free video, 5 Things Women Wish Men Would Understand About Them and What You Can Do About It, I talk about how women can feel used when you want sex all the time. If you're bugging her about sex and don't make the effort to notice where she is, it can be a real turnoff. She wants to feel seen, heard, connected, and loved. If you don't notice that she's got a million things on her plate and don't offer any support, she doesn't feel seen. The more you pressure her into having sex, chances are the less she'll want to. I think of my client Ben and his wife Dawn, not their real names, a busy working couple with 3 kids. Ben would complain to me that Dawn never seems to have time or desire for sex. It was always something, he'd say. She would say that she was tired or has to help with the kids, with this and that, and so much to do around the house, finish a project at work, and so on. And he would say that he worked all day too and just wanted some sex to help him relax at the end of his day, and that it didn't used to be this way in the beginning. And I told him, as a man, I could relate and understand his desire. And then I asked him to put himself in her shoes. And from what he told me, she does a lot. She works full-time, deals with the kids' needs, puts dinner together, does most of the household chores, gets the kids to bed, and some evenings she has to tie up a few loose ends from work. Then I pointed out to Ben that meanwhile he's been thinking about having sex all day and is looking forward to it, and then he starts to pressure her into having sex when he gets home. When I asked him how that was working for him, he said that she just shuts down. He says he feels like he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, no pun intended, and was thinking that if he didn't pressure her, they wouldn't have sex at all. Well, this scenario is pretty common, actually, especially with busy couples. And it can go both ways, too. Pressuring each other into having sex or anything else often backfires. I mean, think about it. Who really wants to be pressured into doing something they're not ready to do? I know I don't. So I pointed this out to Ben, and I also asked him to put himself in her shoes. Well, he got all defensive at first, saying, well, what about me, And I steered him back to recognizing her experience, all that she's trying to do to get through each day. Then he paused, and I could see, the light bulb go off, and he was like, wow, I guess she does do a lot. I can see how she might be too tired for sex. Then he asked me what he could do. I told him, first of all, notice her. Check in with her. Ask her about her day. Offer her some support. Acknowledge her and ask her what you can do to help. Work together to get things done. Collaborate and communicate. Show her some non-sexual affection, because sexual touch right off the bat could turn her off. Like touch her shoulders or hold her hand, things like that. I told Ben that when she feels seen, heard, loved, and connected, you will have a much greater chance of getting what you want rather than pressuring her. Well, Ben finally got it. And the next time we met, he was eager to tell me that it worked. They talked it out, and Ben is doing a lot more to help around the house and what she needs, and now they're having sex more frequently. They feel closer than ever, and sometimes just making time to snuggle on the couch watching a show at the end of the day is enough. The goal here is to go for the connection and for the long term of the relationship. In the words of singer and sausage guy Jimmy Dean, he says, love is like an ice cream sundae with all the marvelous coverings. Sex is the cherry on top. Yeah, sex can be very healing in a relationship. It's what helps us to connect, ignite the fire you have for each other, and feel alive. It's all a part of living the life you love. Well, that's going to do it for the Let's Talk About Sex episode, part 1. I'm Bill Simpson. Thank you for listening. And remember, if you have any challenges going on in your relationship you need help with, have any feedback or suggestions for the show, or would like to join my email list, please email me at bill@pathwaystolivingwell.com. That's bill@pathwaystolivingwell.com. Now, coming up on the next episode, I answer a listener's email asking, why do I have to change? Why doesn't she change? Please tune in to the Men on the Path to Love podcast to hear what I have to say on the Why Do I Have to Change episode. And until then, keep your heart open and stay on the path to love.